Hey everybody, Ninjetta here. I was thinking again, I do a lot of thinking while I drive, that's why I be doing these videos in my car, about health, which is a heavy thing that's on my mind most of the time. And if you follow me at all, then you know why, because my brother has some pretty severe health problems we've been trying to figure out. So, this is what I wanted to talk about. The majority of nutritional information, especially what's pushed by the government, is wrong. And no, I'm not like some kind of anti-establishment, whatever, everything the government does is always wrong. It's actually literally wrong. Like, nutritionists will tell you it's wrong. The food pyramid is inverted. We are not supposed to be eating all the grains. That's not supposed to be the biggest thing we eat. The biggest thing we should be eating is actually animal products. And there's been a lot of research on this. It's becoming a lot more well known that the reason why humans developed the way they did with our brain capacity is because we are primarily carnivorous. Now, yeah, we can process plant products. We are omnivores, but we're primarily carnivores. So I call it carnivorous omnivores because the main part of our diet should be animal based. Plants are more for medicine. Like for example, you could drink coffee or tea for energy if if you didn't get enough sleep or something. And there's all sorts of other teas that have medicinal benefits. But as your primary diet, like what you eat every day, it should be really animal products. Good animal products, not the crap that you buy in your generic grocery store. Lot-fed beef, which is being fed who knows what, all kinds of things that are not natural for that animal to be eating. Chicken that's not natural. They're not feeding them what they're supposed to be eating. The whole thing about being a carnivore is that your food is supposed to be eating what it was supposed to eat so that you can be eating what you're supposed to be eating. Because if they're not, if your food animals are not eating their nature-specific diet, then they're unhealthy, which makes you less healthy because you're not getting everything out of them that you're supposed to because they didn't get everything they were supposed to get out of their food. So I'm a huge animal lover, but nature is nature. I mean, you can't sacrifice your own health because you don't want to eat Bambi. I'm not saying eat your pets. I'm saying that we're supposed to eat animal products. We're supposed to eat beef. That's extremely good for you. Ask any if you want to double check me, which I very much encourage you to do. Look up any board certified clinical nutritionist, and the reason why I specify that one is because they have a lot of rigorous testing they have to go through to get that certification. Every last one of them will tell you veganism is unhealthy. Even vegetarianism is unhealthy. The reason why people think it's healthy is because when you become a vegan or a vegetarian, you're giving up a lot of the processed and bad foods that are in pretty much the standard American diet. So just eliminating those from your diet automatically makes you healthier. But in the long run, for long-term health, it's unhealthy because you're not designed to process that much plant matter, and you don't get as much nutrition out of it. So if you want to be healthy, you need to eat grass-fed, pastured. So that's grass-fed, grass-finished. It means they didn't stick them in a lot and fatten them up with corn before they slaughtered them. Beef. You should stay away from commercial pork. There's all kinds of things wrong with that. Not all swine is bad, but you got to know what you're eating. Like if you want to go hunt a wild boar, or if someone is raising boars, that's probably okay. There's also heirloom breed pigs that are not your commercial pigs. They look different. They've got a lot of hair. Those are okay if they're fed. Anything, if it's fed properly. Anything I'm saying is completely based on if the animal is properly raised and fed what they're supposed to be eating. Any store-bought cheap chicken is automatically bad because chickens do not grow very fast. in compared to like other animals that we might eat. Chickens are better off laying eggs for us than they are being on our dinner plates, because it takes a while for them to get big enough to eat. So a properly bred, properly raised chicken can cost like $20 a pound. So it's really not economical. Same thing, goat, lamb, all that kind of stuff. If your food is actually raised properly, you can literally eat it raw. It's not bad. You're designed to eat that. We have to cook it right now because they're not eating what they're supposed to be eating. Their water may not be clean. So, they have stuff in them that's not natural, so that's why we need to cook it. But it still should be cooked rare, except for chicken. That's just because it's like the majority of chicken is bad, so I just kind of stopped eating it. I don't eat pork anymore because the good kind of swine, the boar and the heirloom pigs, are a little too expensive right now. And I know for some strange reason they make it more expensive, and I know why, but I'm just saying strange. They make it more expensive to buy the healthy stuff. So even though it's less expensive to actually let cows just eat grass like they're supposed to, just let them wander around and eat grass until they're big enough to harvest. I mean, how hard is that? All you have to do is keep an eye on them and make sure they don't get sick and that they don't get hunted by anything, and you're fine. It's not like keeping them in a lot where you got to clean up the lot if they're cleaning up the lot. And feed them every day. They feed themselves. It's a lot easier, and yet they charge more for it. So, anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. If you can't afford the grass-fed beef, one way you can do to help supplement is to actually just buy grass-fed fat. There's a version called Sweat. It's not sweat like on your brow, like suet. I think I'm saying that right, I hope. It's basically the fat around the kidneys. But a lot of toxins store in fat. But a lot of nutrition is in the fat too, because we're supposed to be burning fat, not sugar. When you're on a plant diet, you're burning sugar, starches, carbs, that sort of thing. That's what causes insulin resistance, which makes you diabetic. So anyway, you can get like the lot-fed meat if that's all you can afford, but if you can just buy some grass-fed fat, then that'll help you out because you'll get more nutrition out of it, and it won't be as toxic as the fat coming off of the lot-fed meat. So I'm going to put some references for you. I actually got started on this particular nutritional journey. My Jonan recommended a book to me called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Dr. Weston, who was a dentist back in the 1940s. And he went around the world interviewing different groups of people that still ate their native diet, that really hadn't had a lot of contact with commercial food back then, like canned food and stuff. And he documented everything. He's got pictures. It's a documentary style book, so if you're not into reading, it might not be for you, but it's a good reference. And he basically found out way back then that in order to thrive, you must eat animal products. Now, he's not promoting carnivorism because they didn't really know about it back then, but even back then, he knew you got to eat animals to be healthy. So that's a good reference that got me started. And a holistic dentist who also know a lot of the natural healers, holistic dentists, naturopaths, things like that. They know something about nutrition because it's so vital to your health. She recommended a nutritionist to me named David Getoff, who, when I got the first book I just told you about, actually did the foreword, did like a comment in the beginning of that book. He's got a book too. I was able to actually contact him and talk to him a couple of times. He's super cool. And his book is called Abundant Health in a Toxic World. And I'll put these book titles and authors in the description for you. And he's the one that pointed me towards the carnivore diet for my brother, because he said there's no negative side effects. So he said to read a book called The Carnivore Code by Dr. Paul Saladino. That's what got me started on carnivore. So, and I have other references too, but I'm going to put these books, like I said, I'm going to put them in the description, titles and names. They're great references. to get you kind of started knowing what we're supposed to be eating. And it's like nature knows. Nature knows. You can look at the way we're designed and tell. Even like random example of nature knows, when you get a cut when you're a kid, what's your first instinct? You put it in your mouth, right? And you suck on it. Well, that actually stops the bleeding. Now, this is not, I'm not referencing anything on this statement because this is something I've put together myself. So if you have contradicting information you can reference, please tell me, because I always want to learn new stuff. Your saliva is base. One of the things that happens with your digestion when you chew and your saliva mixes with the food and then it goes into your stomach, it causes a chemical reaction because your stomach is extremely acidic, like a 1 or a 2, because it needs to be able to melt flesh. So as a base, when you lick a wound, it stops the bleeding. I mean, not instantaneously, of course, but and you know a lot of bacteria can't live in a base environment. So, I mean, you see animals when they get hurt, what do? They lick it. You know, so next time, just do an experiment. Next time you get a cut or something, as long as there's nothing on it like dirt or anything like that, you can rinse it with some water first. Lick it, see how long it takes to stop bleeding. I know that sounds crazy, but you can also, like, if you've got like something, like you can like lick your finger and like rub it to just get the saliva on it, and you'll see how fast it stops bleeding. So that's just some thoughts of mine. You know, leave me some comments, tell me what you think. Like I said, I love learning new stuff, so if you have counter references for me, please tell me so I can look into it myself and we can have a discussion or something. But I always want to spread information that I have, so that's why I'm making this video, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope it wasn't too long, and talk to you later.